Om Shanti. Good morning. So, most beloved, the Bab Dada has made us all double crowned, having the crown of purity as well as responsibility, ability to respond to Baba's call. That is the crown of responsibility. And this place is the original family of Dadi Janki the Great or the greatest. And I have been fortunate for having a distant but close connection with Dadi Janki ji throughout. So I am finding myself very fortunate by my presence in this fragrant rose garden of Dadi Janki. And I am remembering how great Dadi Janki was. Long back, when we didn't have these mobile phones, we had that normal phones, and in India to get a telephone connection for long distances, the only proper time was early morning. So one such morning, Dadi Janki's temporary room was next to my office in Delhi, Panda Bhavan, and I was making a long distance call to Patna city and was speaking quite loudly. And suddenly someone came and said, Dadi ji is calling you. So I felt that perhaps I am disturbing the Amrit Vela by speaking so loud, and Dadi Janki is calling me for that reason. So as I entered Dadi Janki's room, she said, you were making that call? And my own suspicion was confirmed. And then what Dadi Janki replied was, I do not know whom you are calling, what was your purpose. But I was all the time thinking that whomsoever he is calling, his connection should be successful and his talk should be fruitful. Then it changed whole of my thinking that look at this Dadi. What we are thinking and what she is thinking. Always positive. And I may tell you another thing. Being the most stable mind in the world means the strongest yogi. So whenever in Delhi our responsibility was to meet the political leaders, VIPs, etc. So whenever we will have an appointment with some big one, like the President of India, so we will first telephone to Dadi Janki that we have got appointment at this hour, and when we will be reaching that person's office, we will be calling you. So kindly help us with your yoga power. And it is a effect that, Dadi will send that yoga power and we will see physical change in that person. That person will be normal and then he will shuffle his legs, then he will become stable. Then he will tell the secretary not to cause any disturbance, and we will tell that person to sit for silence for 1 minute, and then he will be in so deep silence that we will have to tell him, because we have to have some talk, to come down from that. So this is also a fact. So therefore, Baba made basis. Baba doesn't belong to this world. Baba makes basis to take us to Baba's land, Baba's region. So the first base Baba made was in Madhuban, and the second base was London. So this is a very important base, and I am very glad to be present here. Now, I will tell you the tale of my 3 interviews, which is the tale of everyone with different plot. So that will tell us how Baba's children, how luckiest we are. So long back, I had attained my educational qualifications, and as per that I had started an office for practicing as a chartered accountant. First time I went to meet Baba after that, the first question Baba asked was, "Have you qualified? What are you doing?" And I told Baba I have started office for practice as a chartered accountant. Baba told me to come closer. I was already close, but had come closer. And Baba's brilliant, radiant face and Baba's grandness, it was magnetic. So Baba told me, "Child, it's better you take up a government job, because then your mind will not be all the time occupied with your profession." Instantly I thought, yes, I will do that. I applied for the job, and now it's a long story, but to cut it short, Baba got me the job. There were 8 candidates going in the same railway compartment for the job. I do not know what happened to them. When I was called for interview, they asked me 5 questions. As a BK, you are the least interested in studies, and therefore I was unable to reply the first 4 questions, which were academic, and the 5th one was what salary you will accept. Now I didn't know anything about salary, pay scale, increment, nothing. So I told them, whatever you give me. So I was selected, all others were rejected. Because they all expected higher salary. The company had just acquired land only, and they had to make the factory. Now I got the job, and then that was a very big corporation with about 7 to 8 big companies, units all over the country. So they required 6 or 7 qualified chartered accountants in that unit. So after 3 months they re-advertised by raising the basic pay 1.5 times. Because I was already in, I got that 1.5 times salary. Other new boys came. So Baba not only got me the job, but also got my salary raised. If that was in the beginning, I would have been out and others would have been in. So this is the first tale of the interview. Now, Baba knew that I am not very comfortable with interviews. So the company decided not to interview people for promotions, only see their record and promote them. For long time, for small promotions, I was never interviewed. So I was comfortable. Then there came a rider that normally when one is promoted, he is sent to a new unit, being experienced. But Baba told me to remain only in one unit. Baba told me, does Baba go out of Mount Abu? So you remain there. So I will get my promotion a little later, but that didn't matter. Now, two things are there. First, the first salary that I got, I made a bank draft and sent it to Madhuban as is normal in India. They send their first salary to the Guru. I sent it by registered post. Baba returned it by registered post. Then I wrote a big letter illustrating all the points of the Murli. That Baba says, I only accept, Baba is a big sraf and accepts only money because Baba has to repay many times over. And I wrote all those things. Baba, you told me to take the job. It is honestly earned money. Baba, why you have returned? So then Baba wrote that this time Baba has accepted, but hereafter you spend it yourself as a trustee. So the lesson I learnt was that if I had sent a portion of my salary, then I would be thinking the rest of it was mine. But Baba wants me to think that the entire thing belongs to Baba and you have to use it as a trustee. Now, after a stage, there had to be another interview. Because, there were so many units so many factories of the corporation, and for a higher promotion, they had to interview people from all the units. So that interview was held in Delhi. My parents were in Gyan. I did not fare well in the interview at all as usual, and I was feeling that this time I am not going to succeed. I came home. My father said, have the meals. I said, no, I am not feeling like because I have not fared well. My father said, Baba is there. I said, I know Baba is there, but Baba doesn't want that his children should bring defame and behave like that. Still my father said, no, Baba is there. Anyhow, half-heartedly I went back to my job and I was counting days when the result will come. And finally the result was that the interview was quashed for technical reasons because the board was not properly formed. So again I got my promotion on merit, not on the basis of the interview. So this went on. Now the third tale of the interview. Then, Baba had gradually prepared me to surrender. Originally I had no intention of becoming a surrendered full-time Brahma Kumar. Baba once asked me, are you comfortable with your job as well as doing godly service, or you want to do godly service only? I weighed both the sides and I said, Baba, to me both are the same. Because job, after so many 17 years of job, it was just a routine. Baba again told me, in Hindi they call it 19-20. 19-20 batao. Even then I replied, Baba, it is the same to me. It was that situation. But later, Baba had left the body. The Dadis had taken the first ever bungalow, house in Delhi, first ever Brahma Kumari owned house in Delhi in the year 1972, called Pandav Bhavan. At that time it was considered a very big important deal. Money had been collected from all over India to buy that house. So I was told, because I belong to Delhi, it was suggested that I transfer my job from that unit to the headquarters of the corporation, which was in Delhi. Now I weighed the thing. It is one thing to be in a unit for so many years and it's so easy to do the job of a finance officer. But then if you go to the headquarters, then you have the financial problems of all the 8 units. And even if you wish, you cannot even take your normal leave. So Baba made me to say to Dadis, I said, Dadis, I have worked for 17 years. If you like, I can leave the job and then I can come to Delhi. So Dadi said, okay, as you feel like. Now, there was a trans messenger called Mohini Bhan, the junior with me at that center. I thought of confirming from her, from Baba through her, what should I do? So, what happened that when I reached back my house, there was another interview for the next job. Now, a person who has to leave the job normally will not go for that interview. And especially when one has a phobia about the interview. But still, I thought the interview has come for the highest job. Let me ask from Baba. And Baba's message was, he should appear in the interview. Now I again requested the trans messenger to go back to Baba and tell me the reason why I should do that when I am going to leave the job. Now Baba said that even if he has left the job, people will ask what was his last status. And that if it is a higher status, that will also be doing service. Now that was not in my thoughts at all. As per Baba's direction, I went for the interview. This is the last third tale of the interview. Now it was a very, very big board, Government of India's Public Service Department chairperson, general managers of so many units and very big board, and I was the first one to be called. You know, the first one to be called is more grilled. So they saw my records and they said, well, if we give you job this time, you have to move from that particular unit to wherever we send you. I had no stake. I told them, well, my situation remains the same. You all know there is a Brahma Kumari center in my house and there is no private accommodation. So my situation remains the same. I said something like that. Suddenly, the chairperson of the interview board was called by the Minister of Fertilizers. And he said, I am leaving. Then they said, how about the interview? He said, continue, I will return. So their entire mood changed. And now they say, what are your hobbies? The interview is for the highest financial post. And I am thinking within me, what are my hobbies? I said, spiritual study. Then they said, have you read the Gita? Now I do not know Sanskrit, but I was given a Hindi translation of Gita during our convocation for a degree. So I had read it once. So I said, yes, I know the Gita. Now they ask me, which is the most important shloka of Gita? Now I do not know Sanskrit. In my heart I know what people consider it to be popular, but I cannot render. So I tell them, to me it is Manmana Bhav Madhya Jiva, which I know. They all nod like this, because they can't appreciate. Then I start telling them that unless you know who is God, how can you remember Him? That doesn't go in their head, they are still nodding like this. Then one of them stops and tells me, okay, tell me, if a person is chasing another person with a dagger and you are watching, what will you do as per Gita? So that is easier for me. I told them that I am not afraid of my death, but I don't take law in my hands, so I will look for some policemen. Then they again learned it like this. Then they told me, okay, the one who is being chased is your real brother. Then what you will do as per Gita? So I told them, for my bodily real brother, I have more responsibility. I have some karmic account. I will see what can I do. I gave a roundabout reply. Then one of them said, it is already 9 minutes, let him go. So I left, I was selected and I resigned. So this is the third tale of the interview. So what I wanted to say is, once you leave yourself, your life to Baba, Baba takes the best care of you. Baba will never allow Baba's child's dignity to be lowered in any form, anywhere, in any forum. That is what I want to say. So the clock is showing me that it is over.